Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And today we're going to go through our top 5 undervalued players so far on the current, looking at the consensus list and seeing who we think are kind of, maybe should be a little bit higher right now. So we each came up with 5 players. Don't know who Jeff picked yet, so be interesting to see all that. It's always a tough exercise going through this early. I know we'll have a lot better opinions in a month or so, but this is just a good start to it. But before we get into that, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet or Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet. You go subscribe to us on YouTube as well, Fantasy Football Prophet. Search for us there. And if you want to get in one of our listener leagues for this year, we've already been getting quite a good response already from people wanting in our listener leagues where you can win our championship belt that we have provided to us by Pro-Am Belts. So basically all you got to do to get a spot in that is go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review, send us a message, on Twitter, Instagram, or email us at fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. Let us, send a screenshot of your review. We'll get you in one of the leagues here. We'll have quite a few of them we're starting to start getting that stuff organized here, in the next month and a half or whatever already. So make sure you guys go do that. All right, Jeff. Before, though, we get into the undervalued, I actually have a quick little Instagram question that came through from Jack Maurer. And I actually already answered the question to him, and I already know what he did with what I told him to do, and he might have actually listened to me. So I want to see what you would have done.
No, I'd contradict you.
And I'm wrong. Let's find out. All right. Here's his question. He says, I have the first pick in the draft, and he can trade draft picks. It is a PPR league. I was wondering if there are any trades in terms of draft picks that I should be looking for. So he's the first pick. What would you do if you were in his spot and you could trade picks?
Oh, man.
All kinds of options.
Yeah, there's too many, really, to think about. You can't go wrong if you keep the number 1 overall pick. That's, you're going to be fine. But obviously, there's definitely always a trade I would take. But in that case, especially if you could get, multiple picks, and especially the second, third round, something like that, you could really stock up on just top end talent instead of getting the number 1 overall. I don't know. Are there any trades that he was actually that came his way first, or is he going out seeking these?
Just he's looking for it. But you would trade out of that number 1 spot with the right spot.
I wouldn't have an issue with that. If they wanted to give up their number 1, like if they were at late and say if they were like number 10 or something, and they wanted to give me like 1 and 2 for my 1, yeah, absolutely, I would do that. I don't know how far down the rabbit hole you went with this, exercise, if you will. What did you tell him to do?
I basically told him, I said, if you're able to get the 4th pick, I would do a trade if you could pick up extra picks. If you get the 4th pick, because you're guaranteed one of the top 4 backs.
Right. At what point, though, are you, how far down the list would you go?
I think 10th? I'd only go to 4.
No, I know, but an 8th round pick?
Want to see what he got?
Yeah.
He traded the first pick, and he got the 4th pick. He also picked up the 17th overall pick and the 37th overall pick.
Oh, yeah. That's absolutely. It's a no-brainer
right?
in that situation.
Right? It's beautiful. That's a great trade he did.
Yes, unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I was saying. 17th? So you got a...
That's a second rounder.
That's
so
unbelievable.
He moved down to 4, picked up an extra second rounder.
He actually got more than I put out there. That's unbelievable. So
he
got
probably picked up a 4th rounder.
A first, second, and 4th.
Yeah.
And
moved down 3 spots, got a 2nd and a 4th, still gets one of the top 4 backs.
That's unbelievable. Not to mention you have an extra 4th round pick.
Yep.
If you really wanted to. You could actually turn around because he must have given up more than that just to even out the picks.
Maybe.
If he hadn't, now you have extra picks to play around with. You could give up like a 4th and say a 2nd and move up or something like that.
Yeah. So basically, anybody out there with the number 1 pick in a draft and you can trade picks, I'm all for moving down to I wouldn't go further than 4th because I still want to get one of those top 4 backs if I can. But if you can get some extra picks, I would go down. If I would go down to even 4th, 5th, 6th rounders, picking up an extra one just to move down 3 spots. Because I am not sold on, really, I'm not completely sold on any one of those top 4 guys over the other necessarily. I could make an argument for any one of them. Yeah. David Johnson, maybe I'm a little hesitant because he didn't play last year. I think he'll be fine. But PPR, this situation's even better. So I don't know. I would pretty much do that. Pick up a couple extra picks as long as it's, decently early enough. I would do it.
Yeah, I think that I have no issue with that whatsoever. I think you're right. And the first 4 picks, I think that's a no-brainer. But if you went further than that, what would you have to get in return?
If I went beyond the
what? So say you traded your first and you were going to get flip-flop number ones and you were going to get like the 8th pick.
I mean, I'd have to get a 2nd rounder minimum to move out of one of the guaranteed top 4 backs. I feel like that
would be crazy. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of backs up there, and if say you got an extra 3rd round pick,
that's where I might consider it. I'd have to think hard about that one though,
because it really didn't start falling off until like the 5th round. Say,
yeah, and I want one of those top 4 backs though. If I can have them, I want one of them.
I mean, I would too, but I'm just thinking. I mean, think about that too. At the 8th spot, you could still get, say a Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
So you can get a Melvin Gordon plus pick up like an extra 3rd round guy, which would turn into, that'd be true. Someone really, that would be someone really up there.
I'd have to think about it.
Yeah, I know. I would have to actually look at each one of them.
All right, here we go. Top 5 undervalued players. We'll start at 5, go to 1.
Okay.
I'll start us off. Number 5. I'm not going to go too terribly in depth on this. Maybe I will a little bit. Eli Manning.
Okay.
Because, I went on, listen to the quarterback ranks episode. I put him 20, which is still, that's not like it's really that high. And actually, I might even move him up a couple from that. He's ranked 23rd. I think my even 20 could be a little low. And I don't know why I became an Eli Manning guy, but if you think about it this way, he has on his team, there is going to be a wide receiver that is probably top 3 consensus-wise, right? Top 3 consensus wide receiver. He has a top 4 tight end. And he has a top 7, I think it is, running back. How does he not do well? If those are going to happen, those 3 players are going to be that good. Doesn't Eli have to be that good? Not that good, but he has to be better than 23rd. If those 3 players are to do what people expect them to, Eli's going to be better than 23rd. That's kind of,
I'll give you the 23rd. Yeah, absolutely, he would be better than his ranking currently, without a doubt.
Yes, and it's either Odell, Ingram, Barkley are going to fail, and I even think Sterling Shepard is pretty solid, or Eli's going to, or I guess they maybe expect that those guys are still going to get theirs, and Eli's going to just throw 3 picks and give you a -6 or however your league scores them. So maybe that's what it's going to be. But I like Eli a little bit. I don't love Eli. I'm not going to be going and getting him as my quarterback, my number 1 quarterback, but he's a good streamer. And I will watch it though, because he's been a good quarterback in the past. He's never been, a great fantasy quarterback necessarily. He's been a good fantasy quarterback, but I just think he's a little too low right now.
He has slipped into the top 10, quite a few times. He's been around for a very long time as well. I wouldn't expect that. But if you told me he ended up 15th, that wouldn't blow my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're having a good streaming quarterback at 23.
So I just think he's going to be relevant this year. And 23rd is not relevant. So I think he's just going to be higher than that. So
right. Like he should be like draftable, if you would say.
Yeah, it really could.
I don't know. Even that is
in a 12-team league. If they draft backups, some leagues there's a lot of backups drafted, some they're not. So I personally don't really care to draft a backup, but in leagues that do, Eli should be on a team, I think. So, who's your number 5?
All right. Just to preface this, it's not someone I wanted to put on here, but after I saw how low he was, I had to. I thought that I was going to be a hater of him, and Jordy Nelson.
Oh,
he actually comes in at 41st right now.
Wow. I didn't realize he was that low.
So when I was looking at this, I was like, all right, everyone's going to hate on Jordy. And I got down there and I was like, there's no way. There's no way that he's going to be drafted. Like, you wouldn't take a flyer on him, as your 3rd wide receiver. Like, he is far down the board. And I understand he had a terrible year. And, you would say Devontae Adams did well with Brent Huntley. I mean, they're paying this guy quite a bit of money. He's the wide receiver too. Amari Cooper, they say they're going to have their offense, tailored around him. But at the same time, he was a bust last year. Mm-hmm. And Jordy Nelson, whether or not age has truly caught up to him, I still think he can beat that 41 position if he's playing with Derek Carr, which is definitely a better quarterback than Brett Hundley. So, I begrudgingly put Jordy Nelson on here because I know that there's a lot of risk involved here. But 41 is just way too low.
That is quite low. It's for a guy who really could, be a pretty decent player. We don't know. I mean, last year he's been great, and he was even at the start of last year until Rodgers got hurt. It's hard to say. It's just maybe he wasn't done. I've been under the assumption. I've been kind of saying he was. Maybe lost a step, but I also don't think what he did last year is what he is.
No, and can you imagine? That's always the scary thought. What if Jordy Nelson really wasn't done? What if he even was the 22nd overall wide receiver, which I don't think would really, it'd be too crazy to say. Catches a few touchdowns early, whatever it may be. I mean, you're getting an absolute steal, especially at 41.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's not much risk. That's the thing. It really isn't much risk in it. I think that's why it's a good pick. Yeah, it's not like you're not drafting him for the name anymore. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if it doesn't work out, he's like your fourth or fifth. It doesn't hurt you.
And they went out and got him. I mean, there was a lot of guys you could have gone after.
All right, number 4. I'll go with my number 4. I actually threw Mike Williams on the list. There isn't much to back it up. He didn't do anything, obviously, but he's ranked 63rd.
To be honest, I didn't even see him. I totally forgot about that.
Probably didn't go that far down the list. Ooh, he moved up to 62nd now from yesterday. But that's really low for a guy who was a top 10 pick last year, and injuries just hurt his season. I mean, there's not much to go off of, obviously. I could throw John Ross in this position, too, because he's 84th.
Yeah, I mean, the rookies that got hurt are completely forgotten about.
I mean, because Corey Davis finally came back last year and was able to show a little bit, so he's 32nd. But he's that much higher than 2 other guys that were drafted in the top 10. So there's not much to go off of. Obviously, this is complete just flyer. It's a flyer. It's just based off of what we saw in college. We haven't seen him do anything in the NFL, but definitely throw him on the end of the bench, I think. I'm going to draft Mike Williams in a lot of leagues if I get him for nothing.
Yeah.
And just see if there's something there. Maybe there's not. No big deal. You throw him back on your, back at the end of the bench, or back in the waiver wire. But he's behind. I mean, he's behind all these rookies. He's behind DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley. He's behind Michael Gallup. He's behind Anthony Miller. He's right ahead of Gallup and Miller right now. He's right there with him. But why? He was a first-round pick. This guy, if he's healthy, he can be great. So that's why I think that's a good not risky pick. It's a low risk, high reward pick. Same thing with John Ross. At all. John Ross really is too. I just throw him.
He's another one.
You don't have to. There is absolutely no risk to get John Ross. Where he's ranked, you'll get him in the last round of a draft or for nothing in an auction. So I'd take a chance on one of those kind of guys that are just getting overlooked because they're now second-year guys who haven't played. Or you might be getting the next Brashad Perriman or Kevin White. But that's, that could happen too. But I think there's something there, at least on one of them. So Mike Williams is number 4. Who do you got?
Number 4. I have Ricky Seals-Jones.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So he currently is ranked the 23rd tight end. Tight end is an incredibly shallow position, if you will. There is not a lot of upside guys. You kind of know what you're getting. You're either getting a safe guy, a top tier guy, I should say, which is maybe 3-4 deep tops. And then after that, you kind of know what you're getting. I think Ricky Seals-Jones has an interesting opportunity to, really, if he remains the starter all year, which he will start that way as far as I know right now, because, he's the only guy in town that's not hurt.
Yeah.
I think he has a real good shot if he can actually put together a little bit of consistency. So we saw it for a couple weeks. It was a very small window. So I know it wasn't a whole lot to go off of, but at the same time, he's a very big guy that has wide receiver skills. He was a converted wide receiver. That team obviously needs to find other weapons besides for David Johnson. I think this guy could be it. I think he is very, very low. And once again, you can even take a flyer on him definitely at the last round, and you could even go after someone else that's a little more safe and pair them together and then make your decision a bit later in the season. So that's why Ricky is number 4 for me.
I mean, there's definitely some potential there, so worth a shot. All right, my number 3. This is a lot of people have given up on this guy. So I went with Randall Cobb, and I know a lot of people have given up on him. But he's ranked 46th right now. And Jordy's gone, but a lot of people just all of a sudden, they pretty much just penciled Jimmy Graham into those extra targets, which I don't know if that's the case necessarily.
Yeah, neither of us kind of think that.
Maybe in the red zone, Graham could get more looks. If that's what's going to happen with Jimmy Graham, if he's good, it's going to be because he's getting touchdowns in the red zone. They're still going to have to be throwing the ball to somebody else here. And I mean, I like Geronimo Allison. This could be a Geronimo Allison. He could be another player that, this could just be the Green Bay receivers list, just other than Adams, because Geronimo Allison is now at 82nd, which, right? This could just be, I might just switch this to the Green Bay wide receiver, backup wide receiver, the number 2 and 3 receiver.
Yeah, not Devontae Adams.
I don't see how a number 2 and a number 3 receiver for Aaron Rodgers should be 46th and 82nd. Because I guess people are going to say this is the 3rd and 4th receiver. Jimmy Graham's the 2nd. I think Jimmy Graham he's a target in the end zone now. He's not the same player he was. He's not this guy who's going to be catching all these balls everywhere. It's going to be in more situations. So Randall Cobb at 46, it's so low risk again. That's the thing I love about these. There's no risk involved with getting a Randall Cobb. It didn't quite work out last year. I know I was on this whole thing last year too with Randall Cobb. But like we said, the Aaron Rodgers injury threw a wrench into everything. So it's hard to say what would have happened because Cobb looked pretty good at times early last year, I feel like. He was showing some signs that he might be able to do something. And then once Rodgers was hurt, it was just done. It was over for him. Devontae Adams is the only one who did anything. But as the 46th receiver, that's a wide receiver 5. Again, I'd throw him on the end of the bench. Take a chance. Same thing with Geronimo. I really would with Geronimo too. So I think both of those guys, Yeah,
a lot of upside on that one.
All right, who's your number 3?
Number 3, you went Eli. I have a quarterback on here as well. Mine is Tyrod Taylor. And,
you are the Tyrod guy.
And I talked about it on the QB episode as well. Look, Tyrod Taylor currently is ranked 22nd overall in QBs. The last 3 years on a Buffalo team that, name their wide receivers, didn't really have any.
They had some great ones. Sammy Watkins.
Yeah, he did when he was healthy for
Robert
2 games.
Woods, Marquise Goodwin.
Let them all go one at a time. But he was ranked 14th, 8th, and then 16th in the last 3 years on a team that does not throw the ball a whole lot. He has the most weapons he's ever had before, and he runs the ball a little bit. That's why I like this guy to be far over 22nd. I think once again, I like him better than I like Eli, and I think Tyrod immediately is a streamer, and then find out whether or not he can even be more. Maybe he can be a starter. Obviously, I know why 22nd might be because obviously they have Baker Mayfield, and people just assume at some point he's going to start. I don't feel that way right now. I think Tyrod has it, and while he has it, you can get him for absolutely nothing, and I think he can have great returns.
He does have a lot of weapins, so that is
so many.
He has Njoku and
Jarvis Landry.
That's the guy I forgot.
Josh Gordon. Yeah, it really goes on and on. It's crazy, and he should have a pretty decent run game, and you can throw to Duke Johnson out of the backfield, which is a great weapon for him.
All right, my number 2. This is where I decided I'm gonna stay on the bandwagon this year. I went with Marlon Mack. I'm a big Marlon. You
really are staying on the bandwagon.
I like Marlon Mack. I was a fan of him last year, and he's up to 30. Oh, he's 30th, 31st. He was 31st in yesterday's. He passed Marshawn Lynch now. But if Marlon Mack is the guy there, this is a lot of assumptions. This is if Andrew Luck's healthy. This is all based on if Andrew Luck's healthy. If Andrew Luck is healthy, I don't see how the running back in his offense isn't going to be successful. And Marlon Mack, I think, could be that, especially if he is the number 1 guy. 30th is too low for me because that puts him. I like Tevin Coleman, but Tevin Coleman is still the number 2 at Atlanta. Tevin Coleman's ahead of Marlon Mack. Then there's the rookies, Royce Freeman, Sony Michel, Ronald Jones, Rashad Penny, Darius Geist. They're all ahead of Marlon Mack right now, which we really don't know what to expect from any of them yet. Some of them might be good. I mean, a couple of them will be good, I'm sure, but we just don't know which ones. Marlon Mack did already show signs last year. He has a full year in the league. I think if he is the back, I think he's going to have a really good season. I'm not terribly concerned about the rookies they drafted. You know, like they drafted what? Naheem Hines, I think, North Carolina State, Jordan Wilkins. So they drafted 2 guys, but like in the 4th and 5th round. I think Mack's going to get the first shot at it. Obviously, this is currently, if he stays 31st, I like the pick, but we'll see what happens in training camp. And if he's not getting, if they are cutting into some workload, yeah, then he doesn't deserve to be any higher. But right now, I think it's going to be his job. And I think if Andrew Luck's healthy, the offense could be running pretty well. I think he's going to be, that's a good pick as your 3rd or 4th. You're basically a 4th running back almost at that point. So Marlon Mack, I don't know. It's a little risky. Yeah. But again, that's the beauty of these picks. There's not much risk in it. He's risky if you put anything into him, but you're not going to have to. So just don't go spend on anything. Don't spend on him in an auction. That's what I would say. You know, in a snake draft, you can get him late, but I think there's a lot of potential there. I like the guy. I like what I saw last year in the little bit he actually got an opportunity. So
yeah, it is incredibly low for a starting running back. Yeah, absolutely right on that.
Or it could just be we're buying into it like we did with Paul Perkins. So Paul Perkins, he's ranked so low, he's the starting running
right,
back.
That's very true.
It happens. I mean, that could very well be the case. It always does, but that's why if you're getting him as your 4th running back, there's no risk. You just throw your 4th running back away. It's no big deal. So, all right, number 2.
Number 2, I have Marvin Jones at this spot.
I had a feeling I might see Marvin Jones on this list.
Wide receiver for Detroit. He finished 4th wide receiver last year. Obviously, that, you know, I don't predict that to be the case again, but he's ranked 23rd right now in wide receivers. I just find that to be a little too low, especially for a guy that just did it. Nothing is really changing as far as wide receivers go. I mean, they even got rid of Ebron. You still have Matthew Stafford. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to try to run the ball a bit more, but it's not like he killed it on receptions. He only had 61. So there's not a whole lot in my head where I don't think he can repeat the kind of numbers he put up. So I once again, I just think he's a guy that classically gets kind of overlooked.
He does.
So that's where Marvin Jones is here. I'm going to have him on a lot of teams if he actually stays at 23. There's not a whole lot of risk there.
No, and I considered him for my list. I didn't put him on my list, but I definitely looked at him there and, you know, thought I could go that way. But yeah, he'd be an honorable mention for me. And yeah, 23rd. He has wide receiver 1 potential. He does. I mean, he finished there last year. That's the thing. People think it's crazy when you might say stuff like that, but it's like, wait, he did just do it. So like, why can't he do it again? I mean, he started at his first year in Detroit. Just, he was amazing first few weeks, and then it kind of tailed off. I think there were some injuries involved and stuff, and then last year was great. So why can't he be again? So,
yeah, and he's officially like wide receiver 1. Golden Tate is wide receiver 2 now. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why anything would change too much unless you think new coaching would come in and change that. But once again, it's not like he caught 90 balls.
They still got the same offensive coordinator, same quarterback.
Yeah, and only 61 catches. It's not that crazy.
Yep. All right, my number 1. All right, this guy's not like terribly undervalued. He really isn't. Probably most people are going to say, yeah, he's probably right where he should be, if not even higher than he should be. But to me, he's undervalued, and his name is Stephon Diggs.
You just wanted to put Diggs on there.
He's currently ranked 14th, which I know you actually might put him. You might consider him for your overvalued list.
Where do you think he should be if 14th isn't fair?
Maybe 9th. I'm serious. This is no joke.
He does have.
He's going to be.
He's
great.
A talented
I'm
guy.
I'm telling you, I am just all on the Stephon Diggs bandwagon this year. So that's it. I love Diggs. He's better than Thielen, and he's great. Diggs, number 1, undervalued. No, just don't sleep on Diggs. Pick him up. He needs to be top 10 guy. 14th. I've seen him below Amari Cooper. Come on, get out of here with that crap. Right? I mean, no, Diggs. It's Diggs all day. He's my number 1. Who's your number 1?
My number 1 is ranked 34th in wide receiving rankings.
Is he?
And his name is Chris Hogan.
Ah, Chris Hogan. There you go.
I mean, you can't go back too far with numbers, but he has been pretty successful as the wide receiver 3 there. Obviously, he has played, outside. But Julian Edelman, obviously, is always going to soak up a ton of targets. Brennan Cooks is no longer there, so he is officially wide receiver 2. I think this guy just has all the upside in the world. You saw it in the playoffs when he was finally healthy. He only played 9 games last year, but he was looking really, really good when he was playing. 5 touchdowns, 439 yards on 34 catches. So I think this guy is in line for a much larger piece of the pie, if you will. And I think Tom Brady is just young enough to get him the ball still.
He's definitely polarizing. I'll say that, because his ranks are all over the board. So,
yeah.
I don't see myself having Hogan on any teams, and it's not even anything against. It's not like I don't think he's gonna be bad. I just, for some reason, there's something about I don't know. I just don't.
I mean, it's crazy though. I can draft him as my 4th wide receiver.
Yeah, I know. It's something. I just have this, and I think a lot happens with a lot of people. I don't know what it is. I just have this thing against. I don't know. I just don't expect much from him. I don't know why. I should. He called those touchdowns last year, so I don't know what it is. It's just maybe a mental block I have against Chris Hogan. I mean, I just can't do it. But then again, I don't. I think he's properly rated.
Maybe. I don't think so, especially with Brandon Cooks leaving.
Let's see, who is he? Yeah, I mean, I guess he's behind Emmanuel Sanders, which I'm kind of just off the whole Emmanuel Sanders thing. I'd rather have Hogan. He's behind Sammy Watkins. I think that's proper. That's what it should be, right?
Would you rather have Robert Woods or Chris Hogan?
I don't. Yeah,
Pierre Garçon or Chris Hogan.
I don't get too excited about Pierre Garçon, but
Michael Crabtree.
Michael Crabtree all day.
I'm just saying, even those guys, even if I don't think he would be wildly, even if Chris Hogan doesn't have the year I think he's capable of, I don't think those guys would outperform him.
Crabtree will. Crabtree almost made my undervalued list.
Yeah, I guess he has an opportunity. Baltimore's offense.
I know.
It's really hard to get over.
Bias against Baltimore.
Yeah.
I know. Joe Flacco's elite, so. I can't believe that was an argument at one point in life. I don't know. It's just that actually happened. But all right, that's it. Top 5 undervalued players. Now I can't wait till we do on our next episode top 5 overvalued players. People are going to get upset with that. Probably.
Yeah, that one is much harder to put together.
That'll be the next episode we have coming up. But people they don't get as upset about undervalued. We're just saying people that should be ranked higher. So when we say somebody's, this guy shouldn't be there, I already know there's at least one on my list I'm going to get some flack for. That'll be an interesting episode. But make sure you guys go get your reviews in if you want to be part of our listener leagues. Go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Let us know you did. We'll get you in the leagues. We'll talk to you guys next time.